EA Sports FIFA 20 sponsors Saturday Social.
This is Making It Pro with Andros Townsend in partnership with EA Sports FIFA 20. Andros, firstly, strange times at the minute. So, most importantly, how are you? Are you well and safe during these strange times?
Yeah, I'm well and safe. Locked here in this house with my family. Got a partner, missus, and 2 kids. So, yeah, it could be worse. Of course, I know I'd rather be back playing football.
Yeah, hopefully we see you back playing football not too long from now. Right, let's start where it all began. What are your earliest memories of football?
My earliest memories of football was probably the 98. My dad, once England went out, my dad followed Brazil. So I remember watching the final with Ronaldo and the suspicious illness and that sort of.
Yeah.
So I think that's my earliest memory. It was the 1998 World Cup final.
Who was your role models growing up? Who did you want to be like and emulate when you were down the park?
It would have to be Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was always, from a young age, I was always obsessed with him. So the score was amazing. Followed his career from Inter Milan to Real Madrid to AC Milan, and yeah, so he was always somebody who was a hero of mine growing up.
You joined Spurs Academy, I think I'm right thinking when you were 8 years old, which is, I mean, most of us at 8 are just, as you said, down the park with your mates, you play a bit of football, you do other things. How was that as such a young kid joining such a big academy? Did you feel the pressure at that age, or were you just taking it all in your stride?
No, absolutely not. There was no pressure at all. And it's mad that you say that it's so young, because I remember playing good 2 or 3 years before I went. I had a trial at Arsenal, I had a trial at Crystal Palace and a few London clubs, whether it be with their academy or their development side. So I've definitely got a good few years memories before I even joined Spurs. So it's not like for me, it wasn't like I went there so young.
And of course, that Spurs youth team, let's talk about it, because there were some famous faces in there, obviously Harry Kane amongst others. How much did you enjoy your time at YTS at Spurs?
Yeah, very much so. I think, like you said, we had a good crop of youngsters coming. Ryan Mason, Adam Smith, 3 or 4 other players who are still playing now, Tom Carroll, John Abika, loads of players in our age group. We're very fortunate. We had great coaches there at Spurs who helped develop us. So yeah, it was definitely, when I think back, definitely with fond memories, and I try and keep in touch with as many of the boys as possible.
And you say fond memories, you said you had a laugh, so I think you know where I'm going with this. One very famous clip that went viral, you singing Stand By Me in a dressing room alongside the likes of Tom Carroll, Harry Kane. Where did that come from?
Just as long as you stand by me. Darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me.
Honestly, I have no idea what was going through our heads. I think it was like around Christmas time. And then for some reason, we just decided we're going to make a song for Christmas. We did, because we were all youth team players. We didn't expect it to blow up the way it did. We just thought we were going to have a little joke, put it on Twitter, and that'll be that.
There's so many funny aspects about Tom Carroll's hat. Harry Kane just sat in the corner texting. So that wasn't an initiation then. You weren't made to do that. You actually chose to do that.
Unfortunately, I did that by choice, yeah.
This is your words, not myself, but you said that you were very talented but cocky as a young player, as a YTS. Have I quoted you right there?
Yeah, you could say that.
Go on, elaborate then. In what way?
I was a show-off. If I would train with the first team, they'd all hate me because I wouldn't pass to them. If they give me stick, I'd mouth. That sort of stuff that you do when you're young and you don't really think about the consequences. But even probably to this day, I'm probably still very cocky. But I wouldn't say it was a bad trait. It probably helped me to get to where I am, because I wasn't training with the first team. I was going out on loan and being in awe. I wasn't scared of these players who were 10, 11 years older than me. I was sure of myself, and I felt equal to them.
I was just about to say that, actually. That can be perceived to be a positive, particularly a player in your position, an attacking player or winger. Fans now love to see players that are, tricksters. I mean, look at your teammate Wilfried Zaha. People love watching him play because he does express himself. So, in a way, that's probably helped you develop your game, that confidence that you had at a young age.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think we had, like we said, we had a talented group in the youth team, and whenever a player would go up with the first team, honestly, like back in those days, it was brutal. Like you make one mistake,
Really?
all the senior players batter you. So I think you kind of needed to be thick-skinned to get through that.
Who was the worst player then in the first team then that you used to get hammering from?
There was a few. Jermaine Defoe, Jermaine Genius, Robbie
Yeah.
Keane, Luka Modric. They all, like, honestly, like, obviously there was players a few years older than me in the first team dressing room. And every time I used to train with them, they used to come to me and say, Andros, like, they're battering you in the change rooms. They hate you.
Really?
Like, you go up there, you don't pass. Yeah.
So you had a few loans, Andros. Coming back to Spurs, scoring on your debut for Spurs, an FA Cup game, wasn't it, against Charlton? Did you feel, I mean, talk us through the emotions that you experienced having had been at Spurs for such a long time, going out on loan and then scoring on your FA Cup debut. What was that like?
Yeah, that was incredible. That is something that I'll always look back and with the fondest of memories. It was literally, for a Spurs fan to do that on their debut was literally it's you dream about when you go to sleep as a kid. And yeah, I managed to live my dream, and it was an incredible out of body experience sort of thing. And yeah, it's something that it's probably one of the biggest highlights, along with this behind me or the other side.
Yeah, go on. Let's have a look at what you
that.
got. Let's have a little. Let's have a little look. What are they?
I'm worried that it's got. Yeah, it's just my. Oh no, the other side.
There it is.
Yeah, it's just my first England shirt, and
Love that.
3 pictures of my goal. Yeah.
Love that.
So yeah, that along with my first debut was definitely the two biggest highlights of my career.
Now, I imagine Roy Keane is a brilliant pundit whenever he's on Sky, of course. The one thing I take from watching Roy Keane as a pundit is he speaks his mind. Was he like that as a manager? Did he tell you exactly what he thought of you?
Exactly as you see him on TV, that's exactly how it was in the dressing room. But even not worse, but he was more brutal. I really enjoyed my time under him. I think nowadays players, they don't like that sort of management, and I think that's why he's not in management at the minute. But I appreciated the honesty. If I had a bad game, he would tell you about it. And
You've been blessed to play with some amazing players. Did you always see that in Gareth Bale? Because there was a period early on in his Spurs career when, I don't know if you remember that famous stat, but Tottenham hadn't won for ages with him playing, which I think was a bit unfair to him because it was just coincidental. But there was talks about loan moves. Could you always see that ability in him and predict that he was going to go on to achieve what he now has achieved?
I think you ask anyone now, they're going to say to you, I always knew he could do it. I've always believed in him. He always had it in him. But I think, being honest, he had incredible athletic. He was always incredibly strong. He was big, he had muscles. His calves were massive. But unfortunately, he was getting injured. Whenever he was getting in the team, he was getting injured. And then he managed to put it all out. Yeah, he turned into an incredible player. And yeah, I'd be lying if I said that I could see it coming.
Yeah, and a similar one with another player that had a lot of loan moves was Harry Kane. Of course, he had a lot of loan moves with Spurs, and obviously, again, absolute world-class player. Similar question, really. Was he someone that you could always see had that ability and would go on to achieve and break records that he has, or was he a bit of a late developer?
If you had told me he'd won a Golden Boot twice, he'd be England captain at 25 or whatever he's 6. I wouldn't have seen that, but what Harry Kane did have from a very, very young age, from the first time I saw him, was an incredible ability to score goals from any angles, left foot, right foot, head. But yeah, I didn't see how big he was going to be and how much of a world-class player he was going to be. Again, I'd be lying if I saw it coming, but he always had the ability to play in the first team.
Your England debut, that call-up, making your debut and scoring on your England debut, just like you did with Spurs, that must have been incredibly emotional.
Again, it was incredible. Like I said, again, similar to the Spurs one, it was stuff dreams are made of. Like, you couldn't write a script. It was a win or bust qualifier at Wembley, making your debut. It was all a fairy tale stuff. And looking back now, I don't think I realised how big it was at the time. For me, it was just another game. But yeah, looking back now, I don't know how I was able to perform at that level, and I wasn't feeling pressure, I wasn't nervous, and yeah, it was incredible.
I read as well that you were just crying constantly afterwards, tears of joy. Is that right? It was the most emotional that you've been after a football match. You just you just welled up?
Yeah, I held it together and in the players' lounge on the way home. I was fine, and then like I got home, closed my door, and it was like all burst out. Like it was like a whole. I've been working hard for 15, 16 years for that moment, and it all come true. Yeah, and it was just a bit much. Yeah, it was incredible feeling.
How do you look back on your time at Spurs? You said they're Spurs fan growing up, representing the club, coming through the youth system, scoring on your debut. In terms of how it ended for you at Spurs, you look back with obviously fond memories, but disappointed with how it ended at Spurs?
Yeah, probably disappointed in the way it ended. I won't use the word regret because what I was disciplined for, it's in my character. It's something I've struggled with my whole life in school. As an academy player, I've always had I've always been passionate. I've always been emotional. I've always been fiery, been short-tempered. So I can't regret something that's got me to where it had got me. But yeah, obviously disappointed to leave your boyhood club. But I think whichever way it came about, in the end, I knew it was the right decision for my career because I wasn't playing well. I didn't have any confidence. The manager was picking me, but I just wasn't producing anywhere near the level I was capable of or I was used to. So I think I needed that change of scenery, and obviously disappointed with the way I left. But I think it was the right move for my career at the time.
What was it like playing at Newcastle in front of those fans as well? It always seems to pack out St James's Park. What was that like representing Newcastle?
Yeah, it was incredible. Can't speak highly enough of the club, and yeah, it was a great 6 months personally in my career. I can say I do regret that they went down. That I do regret. Yeah, because if we'd stayed up, I obviously would have stayed, and we would have been very successful under Rafa Benitez. But unfortunately, Sunderland went on an amazing run and we got relegated.
Yeah.
Having gone from playing in the under 23s at Spurs in January to in the provisional England squad for the Euros in 6 months, I felt I couldn't step back again and play in the Championship, and I felt I needed to stay in the Premier League.
How come you chose Palace? Obviously, there's a lot of affection, fans there, big club again. What was the reason for choosing Palace, and what other clubs were sort of in for you? Yeah,
there were 3 or 4 Premier League clubs in for me. Why Palace? I think at the time they had a good crop of wingers, Wilf Zaha, Yannick Bolasie. Yeah, they were playing very good football, and I felt that he'd helped me as well, which ultimately why I went there. The fact that it was in London didn't help as well. So yeah, it was all footballing decisions why I decided to join Palace. For somebody of his age, to do what he does on a daily basis on the training pitch is incredible. He's out there. He takes all the sessions. He's kicking balls. He's throwing balls. If we're doing shape, attack, feed, defence, he'll start off the practice by kicking the ball out to the winger or playing to the midfielder. Yeah, he's always involved.
Really? Has he got a bit? Is he?
Yeah.
Has he still got a bit?
He's got a bit. Yeah. He's got a bit. So yeah, he's easy to work for, and especially for myself, he's always, even like I said, even before Palace, he's always shown confidence in me. He's always wanted to improve me as a player, and the fact that he's managing to do that now on a day-to-day basis has definitely helped my career.
What would you say was the best decision you made throughout your career? Because I read that a sports psychologist played a big role in your career as well. Was that one of the best decisions that you made? Yeah,
definitely, because I injured soon after that, or the other side, that game, that debut when I was on the form of my life. I got injured quite soon after, and I wasn't as sharp, but in my mind, I still felt I was that same player. So I was always trying to, if I was having a bad game, I'd be harsh on myself. Oh, why can't you do what you did a few months ago? Why can't you do this? Why can't you do that? It was speaking to a sports psychologist, trying to look to the present and to the future, as opposed to always looking into the past and thinking, why can't you do it like this and why can't you do it like that?
And was that one of the biggest challenges you had to overcome in your career, that particular injury, that hamstring injury? Because as you said, it affected the way you played. Was that one of the toughest challenges you had to personally overcome?
I think very much so, because it was at a time as well where I was sort of the golden boy. I think I did get scrutinised. So when I couldn't do what I was doing a few months ago, I was getting a lot of abuse. I was getting negative press. You know what it's like in this country. So I was able to kind of speak to someone and to get it all off my chest, all my worries, all my fears, all my problems. Felt like a massive weight had been lifted off my shoulders. So yeah, any young player going through any struggle, I'd definitely recommend speaking to somebody.
Just finally, future goals for you going forward. Do you have any future goals? Do you set yourself any? What do you want to achieve from now on in for the rest of your career?
I've always been naturally fit. I've always taken care of my body. 9 times out of 10, I've been lucky with injuries, apart from this season, unfortunately. But yeah, my aim is to try and play well into my 30s. Hopefully try and do that in the best league in the world, the Premier League.
Andros, that was absolutely brilliant. Honestly, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for being so honest as well. Stay safe and hopefully catch up with you soon. That was, of course, Making It Pro with Andros Townsend in partnership with EA Sports FIFA 20.